Have you thought about how a Verkada system can help you meet your sustainability goals? Today I'm going to give you a brief explanation of how our hybrid cloud architecture will allow you to optimize your buildings. And I'm starting with this very simple schematic of how traditional camera systems work. You have one or multiple cameras and they rely on a server in order to be managed. Now this can come into different forms and sizes. You can have basic NVRs with storage built in it. You can have VMS that allows you to manage multiple locations. You can have your own storage based on some sort of a NAS architecture. Again, so many options. But all of them have something in common, and this idea that you'd have server or servers driving the infrastructure. And this also extends to other areas such as access controls, sensors, where you're relying on databases and log servers. They have to be placed somewhere. And the whole point about Verkada is taking these elements and getting rid of them, splitting their purpose between the device itself and the cloud, thus hybrid cloud architecture. And as you can imagine, if you have a large estate or a distributed environment, this will automatically translate into lower cost and energy efficiency. If you think about this, all those servers that reside today into data centers and comms rooms need to be powered and also need to be cooled. And the more you have, the more power and cooling you need. Thus, by getting rid of them, you automatically not only will see a reduction in your energy bills, but also much less landfill. So it's the devices themselves that obviously need to be recycled somehow, but also all the packaging that they come with. Loads of plastic and cardboard that you don't need to think about. The second way of looking at this is utilizing what I call the Swiss Army knife, and that's our SV sensor series. And for those of you who haven't watched some of my previous videos on it, this is a multi-sensor allowing you to get readings across multiple variables such as temperature, humidity, light levels, carbon dioxide, and so on. So how can you use this? Here are a few examples. First of all, think of any rooms or storage areas where you keep your perishable goods. This will allow you to get alerts in case the temperature and humidity go outside your desired values, thus negatively impacting the shelf life of the product. And you know what happens? They go to the landfill. Secondly, you have all your expensive comms rooms equipment, and you want to make sure that the air temperature and in the room is adequate and there hasn't been any leaks and water accumulating. You can again use one of those to get alerted in case some of these things happen. You can also use readings such as the carbon dioxide to make sure that your employees, students, or guests don't become negatively affected by the way that you're designing your building. It's an interesting way of looking at this, but as you try to make your building as energy efficient as possible, you're sealing it off from the outside, not allowing air and drafts to come in the building. And that makes a lot of sense, because if there's no drafts, then the temperature will drop at a lower rate, meaning less cost going towards heating. The negative impact of that is the actual accumulation of things such as carbon dioxide that can cause things such as respiratory illnesses to spread and even cognitively impair the people that congregate in those rooms. So in order to make sure that your HVAC system is properly filtering the air in those areas, you can just deploy some of these sensors to keep an eye on the environment. I'll drop you a link in the comments about some of the impacts of the accumulation of carbon dioxide. But obviously, if you're interested in trialing any of our devices, do get in touch with us. Remember, no server means that only thing you need is a cable that will allow the device to connect to the internet and get power over PoE.